There's a place you've probably seen 100 times, painted on old book covers, rebuilt in video games, described in school textbooks as one of the 7 greatest things humans ever built. Terraced gardens, stacked like a green pyramid in the middle of the desert. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Here's the problem. Archaeologists have been digging in Babylon for over 100 years. They've found the palace, they've found the walls, they've found the throne room. They have never found the gardens, not a trace, not a root, not a single stone that matches. And the deeper people look, the more it seems like the gardens might not have been in Babylon at all. Stick with me, because this isn't just old ruins are missing. This is one of the most famous places in the ancient world, a certified wonder, possibly being remembered in the wrong city for over 2,000 years, and nobody caught it. If that's true, it means something kind of unsettling. Some of what we think is history isn't history. It's just a story that got repeated so many times, everyone forgot to check it. So let's check it. Quick version, because you don't need a history degree for this part. Around 600 BC, Babylon was the biggest, richest city on earth, ruled by a king named Nebuchadnezzar II. According to the legend, he built the gardens for his wife, who was homesick for the green mountains of her homeland. So he built her a mountain out of a city in the middle of flat desert, terraces rising on top of each other, trees growing 30 feet in the air, some kind of machine constantly pumping water up from the river below just to keep it all alive. Ancient writers who described it, Greek writers, hundreds of years after it supposedly existed, called it one of the 7 wonders of the world. Sounds incredible. There's one small issue. Fast forward to 1899. A German archaeologist named Robert Koldewey shows up in Iraq and starts digging up the real Babylon. Not the legend, the actual dirt. He finds the city walls, he finds the famous blue Ishtar Gate, he finds palace foundations, temple ruins, streets, drainage systems, an insane amount of real, physical Babylon. He does not find the gardens, no terraces, no irrigation system big enough to lift river water 30 feet in the air. No structure anywhere in the city that matches the ancient descriptions. And it's not like nobody's looked since. Archaeologists have been picking through that site for over a century. Same result. Nothing. At some point, we just haven't found it yet stops being a good enough answer. So, if the gardens weren't in Babylon, where were they? Here's where it gets genuinely strange. There's another ancient city, Nineveh, the capital of a completely different empire. The Assyrians, who were basically Babylon's rivals. Different kings, different dynasty, different city, hundreds of miles away. And when archaeologists dug up Nineveh, they found something interesting. A carved stone relief showing an Assyrian king, not a Babylonian one, standing next to a lush, terraced garden, being watered by what looks like an aqueduct system. Almost exactly like the Hanging Gardens description, except this one's attached to the wrong empire in the wrong city, built by a king nobody puts in the story. And there's more. One of the ancient writers who described Babylon's famous walls he never actually saw, described a specific hunting scene carved into them. Historians went looking for that hunting scene in Babylon. They found it in Nineveh on the Assyrian palace walls. So the leading theory now is this. Centuries after both cities existed, Greek writers working off second-hand stories mixed up 2 rival empires. They took a real garden built by a real king, just the wrong one, in the wrong city, and pinned it to Babylon because Babylon was the more famous name, and nobody caught the mix-up for 2,000 years. Here's the part that's almost funnier than the mix-up itself. Once a story gets repeated enough times, it doesn't matter if it's true. It becomes true enough. Babylon was already infamous. It shows up constantly in the Bible, always as this symbol of excess and downfall. So when people heard about some insane garden mountain built by an ancient king, of course they assumed it was Babylon. That's exactly the kind of thing Babylon would do in the story everyone already had in their head. Nineveh, meanwhile, just wasn't as famous. Nobody was primed to attach a legendary wonder to it, so the story stuck to the wrong city, not because of evidence, but because Babylon was simply a better fit for the myth people already believed. Which is a slightly uncomfortable thing to sit with, honestly, because it means the history a lot of us grew up with wasn't built entirely on what actually happened. Some of it was built on what sounded right. To be fair to Babylon, this isn't settled slam dunk fact. Some historians still think the gardens could be in Babylon and simply haven't survived or haven't been found yet, since a lot of the site is still unexcavated or was damaged over the centuries. But the Nineveh evidence is strong enough that plenty of serious historians now think the Hanging Gardens of Babylon is at best a case of mistaken identity, and at worst, an ancient game of telephone that turned into permanent history. Either way, one thing is definitely true. The actual city of Babylon, the one confirmed by excavation, is honestly wild enough on its own without the gardens. Ishtar Gate alone was covered in bright blue glazed brick with gold dragons and bulls marching across it, a level of color and detail most people don't picture when they imagine ancient ruins. So next time someone brings up the 7 wonders of the ancient world, you've got the one most people don't know. One of them might have never existed where everyone thinks it did, and the mix-up has lasted longer than most civilizations do. If a mistake like that can survive 2,000 years unnoticed, what else did we get wrong?